Hey guys, it's Pat. Hey guys, it's Pat. What's up, you guys? It's Pat.
My name is Shane Patrick Magada Delantara Galar Pond. You may know me as Pat Magada. I've come to notice that holy you guys know nothing about me. So, my therapist said that in order for our relationship to work, it has to be a two-way thing. I guess I'm gonna have to share my life with you. This is who I am.
I hear you through the silence. I see you in my dreams. My heart breaks every single morning. In time's too far from me, but this heart calls back, pursuing first light. Someday won't be that long. In time I'll be inside. Oh.
I'd like to think that I've lived a pretty interesting life. Definitely unusual, at least from an American point of view. I've swam through floods to go to school, I've lived in a bathroom inside a graveyard, I've danced naked in the rain so I wouldn't have to take showers, I've collected poisonous spiders to fight with other spiders like Pokemon. No other kids in the neighborhood had better spiders. I would keep them in matchboxes, and at some point, they would all escape into our house. As a 4 or 5-year-old, I'd go to bars with my mom. I would sing and make a couple hundred Filipino pesos from the audience. My mom worked as a lounge singer, and most nights I'd watch her sing. We would always stop at 7-Eleven afterwards to buy these dumpling things called a siopao. She would end up in Japan, meet a guy in the Air Force, and that guy would become my stepdad. The kid who ran around naked in the rain would end up in America. So far, I think my life has been pretty interesting. Like a lot of people, I've always wanted to be a singer.
I was so high I did not recognize fire burning in her eyes, chaos that controlled my mind.
I think to a degree, everyone wants some sense of fame and fortune, and it would be a lie if I said that I didn't. But in retrospect, I think I mostly chose the path because I wanted to be like my mom. She was strong, she could handle anything, she'd get back up no matter what life gives her. She was in control. Everyone knew her, and when she sang, it's like she gave people the permission to feel. In that sense, I later found out that sometimes I could do the same thing. I know it sounds bad, but when people would start crying when I sang, I kind of felt a little happy. I knew exactly that they were feeling the same way that I was. Sometimes when I sang, it felt like I wasn't alone.
And then someday you leave for somebody new.
Loneliness has been a big occurring theme in my story. I used to research cinematography for fun, and one of the first things I read about was framing. Well, when a character was lonely, usually they're framed so that they're disconnected from the rest of the shot. Maybe they're in the background staring at smiling people in the foreground. Maybe they're all the way in the side while the rest of the shot is just empty space. I feel like if my life was a movie, there would be a whole lot of that. In a video about my life, it's kind of hard not to get personal, so I think that I'll just be as honest as I can be. My dad cheated on my mom. I was the one who found out. I was the one who told my mom. Of course, being 5 or 6, I didn't know what was going on. I was just telling my mom a story on the phone. As I grew up and started understanding more, I started blaming myself for everything. It became a habit to take blame for anything bad that happened, and so I started staying away from people. If I'm the cause for everything bad, then everyone's life is better without me in it. With self-fulfilling prophecies, connecting with anybody became difficult and self-destructing. But don't worry, I'm working on myself. On something lighter, you're probably wondering about my graveyard story, right? Well, back in the olden days, when the world was young, My mom became a Japayuki. And no, it doesn't mean she became a prostitute in Japan. Wikipedia, dude. Anyways, if I can remember correctly, my grandma worked for the graveyard, and at the time it was being used as a police outpost. Sorry, it's in Filipino. Police outpost. It's relevant because my grandfather was a cop. That place was basically my playground. I used to climb onto trees, and God forgive my soul, I used to always dance on top of cement graves. It's probably why I was haunted multiple times. I'm not crazy, you guys. Ghosts are real. Looking back now, it's funny how different those times were. Imagine being a 5 or 6-year-old at night, walking across a cemetery to buy beer for your grandfather. I was fearless and scared shitless. There were festivals for the Day of the Dead where people basically partied at the cemeteries. There were a few times I saw dead bodies fly out of caskets because the grave flooded and destroyed the wood. Probably the funniest memory I have about the graveyard is whenever I heard music blaring from the other side of the gate, I would instantly know there was a funeral on its way. I would dress up and act like I was part of the family, maybe cry a little, and take as much cookies and juice that they would give me. Yeah, I was a bad kid. In those times, we lived in one of the bathrooms on the west side of the cemetery. This was where my grandma would teach me how to cook rice, wash laundry, using a kiddie pool, ride my bike, race chickens, etc. The grandpa would invite his friends over and I'd ruin poker by revealing people's cards. He always blared songs by the Eagles. The graveyard and the bathroom will always have a special place in my heart. Little me didn't care much about America. Philippines was home, and the last memory I had of my native country was me desperately clawing at a glass door that couldn't open from the terminal side. I just wanted to say goodbye to my family one more time. Looking back now, a decade and a half later, I'm so grateful for my mom and stepdad for taking me to where I am. I wish that I had learned to appreciate it a long time ago. One of the first memories I have of the US was Florida. We were driving for God knows how long, hungry, and we'd stop at a Mexican restaurant and I would end up throwing up for a few days because of it. I have a confession, you guys. For about a decade, my stomach was racist to Mexican food. I'm sorry. May the delicious, delicious burrito gods forgive my atrocity. With my stepdad's Air Force background, we moved around. We would later settle down in Oregon.
Ingatan ka, alagaan ka. Sa puso ko, ikaw ang pag-asa.
This morning, I woke up feeling down. Usually, it would be about my current circumstances, about the dream job I don't have, about not going to college, about not being in a place I thought I would be in now, about not knowing fully who I am. And well, this is the title of the video, and it's taken me months to figure out how to tie it all together. Who are you? Who do you want to become? What do you want to do? We're all faced with these same questions throughout our lives, and I think that we don't take enough time to fully dive deep into ourselves and find the answers. So in front of you guys, I answered those questions. I am somebody who's seen people struggle, who's lived a life that some wouldn't find adequate, but I never saw it in that way because of the love and support given to me by those who were there. I am a person who loves more deeply than I would ever want to admit, so much so that I pretend to not care about anything. I'm somebody who wants to help people, who wants to change the world for the better no matter how little. I am lazy, but I'm working on it. I am temperamental, but I've learned to control it. I am a singer. I am a musician, and although I am insecure about my ability to create it, I know my passion and hard work will someday give me the skills to make the music in my head. I want to become the best version of me. I want to be at peace. I want to travel, I want to adventure, I want to fall in love, I want to fall apart, I want to fail, and in that failure, I want to succeed. I want to experience everything good that the world has to offer. I want to be me, and it's something I want more people to want. I want to let people know that they don't have to become these unreachable pop stars. I want to let people know that both poverty and abundance have nothing to do with happiness, that mindset is key, that Everything you could ever want is within. These past couple years, I realized who I am doesn't matter if I'm not being myself. I hope that what you take away from this video, from this channel, from my music, from me, are exactly those 3 words. I am me.
Oh, we're the giants who stand apart. We're the heroes of the universe. We are kings, we are queens, and we'll never back down. We the tigers pay our stripes. We're the battle scars showing the world. We are strong and we roar. Here I am, we roar. And we roar. And we roar. And we roar. Here I am. 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 Here I am.
I would just like to say how impressed I was with everyone. You guys were all terrific.
And finally, we have a first place winner, and I'm happy to say that he received $396.
Baka tumalon ako dito.
And that is